Come, Holy Spirit, hear our pleas, open our hearts, and guide us as we seek to do God's work at St. Brendan's. Good morning, everybody. So did you hear the one about the fellow who tried to outsmart God? The man asked, "Hey God, how long is 1,000,000 years to you?" And God replied, "Well, 1,000,000 years is like a minute." The man thought about that for a while. 1,000,000 years is like a minute, eh? Then he asked God, "So how much is $1,000,000 to you?" To this God said, "Well, $1,000,000 is like a penny." So the man broke into a wide grin and said, "Gee, Lord, could you spare a penny?" Not missing a beat, God replied, "Sure, just give me a minute." Yes, it's stewardship season again, and time for lame jokes about dollars and cents. Throughout its history, St. Brendan's has had a keen sense of time. That means we cherish our past and the story of the handful of founders who stepped out boldly 38 years ago to create this parish. We honor that past by using vintage liturgical elements like the marble and mosaic altar and the brass eagle lectern from bygone Pittsburgh Episcopal churches. And who doesn't revel at our most ancient relic, the stone baptismal font over which countless babies have been christened, not just our own children, but infants and adults going back centuries to medieval England. It's an enduring gift to St. Brendan's from parishioners Sylvia and Bob Affleck. We also have a clear understanding of where St. Brendan's stands in the present, an open and welcoming parish that preaches and lives the gospel of Jesus. Christ said, "Love one another as I have loved you." And we as a parish take it to heart, no exceptions. In a world that can be cold and unforgiving, this congregation has a thirst for justice, a heart full of compassion, and a conviction that every person is equal and loved in the eyes of God. So now we're at an inflection point with eyes set on the future. There's a committed, hardworking group of parishioners, the Discernment Committee, who are searching with guidance from the Holy Spirit on our behalf for St. Brendan's next priest. It's an exciting moment, but also a daunting one. That's why each of these 7 seekers deserves our support and our prayers. The vestry has charged them with a formidable task to find not only a good priest, but one who will be full-time. He or she will be our first full-time priest in almost 10 years. And if anyone knows anything about St. Brendan's, we need a full-time priest. We are active, we are growing, and every new face that walks through the door seems to bring their own desire and energy to further the mission of St. Brendan's. It's a great challenge to have, but we all must do our part. That's why the future is not some distant date down the road. The future is now. The Discernment Committee knows this. Their quest is not something that will pan out later when a new priest suddenly drops from the sky. Their task is a day-to-day, step-by-step pursuit built upon countless acts of work done today, this week, next month. Likewise, the rest of us must act in the present to secure St. Brendan's future. As good stewards, we are called to leverage our time, talent, and treasure to make this church, keep this church, the place that invited us in, made us feel welcome, and gave us a place to be. We all have our stories of arrival at St. Brendan's. Some of them are recent, while others go way back. As many of you know, Sandy and I arrived here when we were in our 30s, with our 3-year-old son in tow. Long disenchanted by the church we grew up in, we joined St. Brendan's and never looked back. Days passed, then years passed, and eventually we watched each of our granddaughters being baptized over St. Brendan's historic font. Who could have foreseen that? Your stories of arrival, no doubt, are different, but they all share a common thread, and that thread is acceptance and delight. Acceptance by St. Brendan's of who we newcomers are, and delight on our part that we found this place. A church can't be any more welcoming than that. And so stewardship in the here and now means helping St. Brendan's put its vitality and promise on full display to the priest candidates who will consider and apply for our vacancy. And they're looking at our job posting right now. We do that by showing up, first on Sunday mornings and then in everything else we do, like supporting one another through meals for the sick, caring cards and pastoral visits, through food and clothing collections, teaching English to immigrants, and marching for justice and equality, by singing in the choir, dressing the altar, keeping our church secure during worship times, by staffing the nursery, teaching our Sunday schoolers and leading our teens so that those parents who've brought their young ones here know that this is a place where they will grow and find God. Mother Nancy has come to us at an opportune time as our interim priest. Her ministry of joy and involvement is motivation for us to invest the time and energy that will help St. Brendan's put its best face forward. But keeping our ministries in top form is not all that's needed from us as effective stewards. Calling a full-time priest will, of course, require more from our budget. While St. Brendan's finances have improved in recent years, we still must make sure that our commitment to this major step is solid and sustainable. There are two ways to do that. One is for you to simply become a pledger. As you know, all contributions to St. Brendan's, whatever the size or frequency, are gratefully received and support the parish we love. But if you consider what that amount will be for you next year and write it on a pledge card, St. Brendan's will have a better idea on how to budget for 2026. The other way to show our commitment is to consider an increase in your pledge for the next year. Costs have gone up, as you know, in your own homes, on food, utilities, and all sorts of household goods. With a full-time priest, St. Brendan's will be spending significantly more on staff, a necessity at this stage if our parish is to grow and thrive. How much you give, of course, is your decision, and whatever that answer is will make for a better, stronger St. Brendan's. When I look around this church, whether it's humming with people on a Sunday morning or empty and silent in the middle of the week, I'm amazed at all that you have built here. I'm not talking about bricks and mortar, but I'm talking about a congregation brimming with care, concern, and God's love. A nurturing place in a turbulent world that many of us consider a haven that all of us can call home. St. Brendan's was built by the joyful generosity and gritty determination of Brendanites both past and present. They chose to follow Jesus' reminder as found in the Gospel of Matthew, where your treasure is, your heart will be also. And so that means for everyone who treasures St. Brendan's, the future has come, the future is here, and the future is now. God bless you, and God bless St. Brendan's.